That's why we consigned you guys to the depths of each other's company.
Send me straight to Brazil.
The depths of Tartarus.
You can enjoy the depths of my company anytime.
I have.
Oh, baby.
I have.
Oh boy.
Welcome to Beyond the Skybox After Hours. This is a show where we talk about the stuff that we're playing, whatever crosses our fancies, all that sort of stuff. Games, nerd culture, nothing's off the table. I'm your host, Brian Barnett. And also, sleep deprived and the editor at large of skyboxcritics.com.
Nailed it.
Yep, did it. Will, who are you?
Mo Burger. Hi, I am the editor-in-chief over at skyboxcritics.com. Good evening.
And Lucas, who the heck are you?
It's me. It's TMG managing editor Lucas White. Skybox.com. Skyboxcritics.com.
We're working on skybox.com.
We're working on skybox.com, but not yet. Not yet.
Somebody owns that domain.
And publicly introducing for the first time Skybox's new executive producer of Skydive, Kris Cornelise. Hey.
Hello. Usually contributing writer, but apparently I got a promotion for some ungodly reason.
All right. Ooh. Let's go, Kris.
That's a thing that has been unveiled now. But yeah, I am not just showing up in here and in various articles, but I will be helping Hellman organize the upcoming skydives from here on out. So you'll also have to forgive me. My voice is a bit croaky today. So yay.
Kris has also been so good that in like the week since we've appointed him to do this, he's basically planned out the rest of the year for
which is so wonderful.
Which is awesome. And I think we can tease this, right? The next one that we're doing, because we talked about this, is Turtles in Time.
Yes.
We announced that in the Discord. So
we did, but now it's public for people who are not in the Discord. The greatest beat 'em up of all time. And we're pairing it with its Genesis, like kind of, sort of, not really, but mostly is the same game, Hyperstone Heist. So, if you like those games, head on over to patreon.com/skyboxcritics and toss us some cash, help us run the site, produce good work, and we'll give you a very deep dive of, mini games. But we're going to start with Turtles in Time.
Well, we're not starting with Turtles in Time.
Stuff. Yeah.
Because we've already started. So if you go over to patreon.com/skyboxcritics, there already is a skydive up, and it's on the Marvel vs. Capcom series. And it's a really fun episode.
Yes.
For your money at a lower tier, you also get Into the Skybox, which has one-on-one interviews that I do with our contributing writers about their pieces, about their process, and about stuff that's still on the cutting room floor. I had a fantastic talk with Ashley Schofield about Street Fighter 6, their recent promotion that uses AI and how that kind of flies in the face of its street art roots, and particularly the street art emphasis of Street Fighter 6. It was a really fantastic and completely unhinged episode of Into the Skybox, and you would do yourself a favor by listening to it.
That's true. Ash is a delight.
Ash is great.
She really is.
And the written article is pretty good too.
Yeah,
the written article is also pretty good and worth your time, and you can find that on the website.
It is.
But Brian has some upcoming ones that I think I'm really excited to listen to. So, maybe one of those I might actually pop in for. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see. You'll have to stay tuned, dear listener. But for this episode of Beyond the Skybox After Hours, we're going to talk about some games. We've been playing a lot of games, but I'm very tired. So I'm going to hand off the inaugural game discussion to one Billiam Werger. Am I getting that right? Did I get that name right? Not
even a little.
Not even a little. Damn it.
Not even a little.
It was in the ballpark.
And not even close. One of the things that's fun about my name is people constantly ask me how you pronounce your name, and everybody is wrong. And then somebody else in the conversation will be like, I know how to pronounce his last name, and they will also be wrong. And this happens repeatedly.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Nobody ever gets mine wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, yours, is not missing an umlaut, so that helps.
True.
So
Have you ever thought about bringing that back? Like putting that back in?
is at this point, it's kind of a bit, and I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah. Okay.
That nobody can do it.
It's like my dad. So
Um,
my dad's name is Gene, but and it's spelled
Gene.
Gene. Great man.
Mhm.
Love him to death. When he goes to coffee shops, he doesn't tell them his name because they always spell it wrong. So he tells them his name is Rick because everybody always gets that. So they call out Rick, and I'm like, "Ugh, all right,
Interesting.
fine, I'll go pick it up. This is ridiculous. Why don't you just? This is this is a teachable moment. Why don't you just? But he's not a teacher. I am. So that's we're all different.
I assure you, as somebody who has a weirdly spelled common name, they will forget.
Yeah. I just want to. I want everybody here knows I want to believe in the good in people, and maybe I shouldn't.
It's funny because I've never heard Jean spelled any other way unless it's like French. So Jean, I guess.
My older sister's middle name is Jane, but Jean, like the pant,
Like the Phoenix.
like the Phoenix. Yeah.
Red and gray, yeah. I mean, although that's how you would traditionally spell it for women, so that makes sense. Anyway, speaking of Eldritch Horror,
Yep.
yeah, we totally talked about that. I have been playing, and I reviewed for shacknews.com Static Dread, the Lighthouse, which is a really neat little game. It's an indie project, and it is about this lighthouse keeper who is assigned to this very old lighthouse because there's an aurora, and the aurora is messing with the navigation systems on all these ships that need to kind of travel the world. And so your job is to guide them into port. And as things are getting strange from the aurora, things are also getting strange in general. They're fishing up like fishmen, and people are kind of going nuts, and sea cults and all sorts of weird little things, right? So your job as the lighthouse keeper is to kind of navigate this period where like there's an eldritch horror trying to come through the world, and in large part come through your lighthouse. Like the lighthouse, it turns out, is pretty significant. And but you're also playing Papers, Please with the ships, basically.
Oh.
So it's the gameplay loop is basically a combination of Papers, Please and a game that ironically I don't think is out yet. No, I'm Not Human, right? Lucas, which you and I played
Oh,
PAX.
Critical Reflex.
Yeah, Critical Reflex. So the thing that's interesting about this is that, and one of the characters actually makes kind of a cameo in Static Dread, is that it is like you never actually leave the lighthouse. You're in the lighthouse, right? You're basically in. There's like 4 rooms, right? You've got like a couple bedrooms, basement, the lighthouse itself, and like the room with the radio. And so all your interaction comes with either people coming to the door. Sometimes you let people in, and you can let them stay there if you want, or just talking to people on the radio. You never actually leave the lighthouse. And so it's this really cool thing where people, as things get really bad, people come be like, can I stay at the lighthouse? And it's like, that may be a good idea. That may not be a good idea. It's kind of up to you. And as time progresses, your ability to guide the ships changes based on what's going on, because it's like, hey, if the people radioing you are weird, you need to send them to this port so the military can check them out. Or, hey, there was a big storm. It messed with the deposits on the seafloor, and now certain channels are not going to be available to ships who have bigger drafts, right? And you have to actually look at the draft on the ship. You have to match the pilot to the pilot's name and the ship registration and all this stuff. So it's very much Papers, Please about like, where do I put this ship, right? But it's also resource management in that, you have food and you have water, and you have to maintain your energy, and you're also trying to maintain your sanity because, things are coming into the lighthouse. There's like black tentacles and stuff falls down off the ceiling, and it's messing with you. If the lights go out, it starts to mess with you. And so you kind of have to figure out how to not only like guide these ships and manage your day-to-day life and the relationships with the characters that are around you and the money that you have, because you do have money and you can buy things. One of the first things I bought was the coffee maker. That was a genius idea. Man, I could not fall asleep at night if I was careful. but it's all this stuff, and it makes for a really cool and very interesting and very unique game. Inevitably, I think with horror, people are going to ask, is it scary? And I'm going to tell you that I don't really get scared by horror games.
That's a tricky proposition, yeah.
Yeah, like horror doesn't really scare me very much. Not like jump scare, right? Like that kind of stuff that doesn't happen, but it has this like sense of kind of creeping dread and like, oh man, what can I actually do in this scenario, right? Things are really bad. That I think is really effective. So yeah, Static Dread is a really cool game. It's not super long. It's like maybe a dozen hours or so. But it has really cool choices that actually like affect the narrative, and it's hard to see what the impact of those choices is going to be when you make them, which is not always true for games where it's like good response, bad response, right?
Yeah.
Where this is like, do I help this guy out? I don't know if that's a good idea, you know? And then you kind of figure out like, oh, that was a good idea, or that was really bad, right? Or I wish I'd handled this differently because something happens to this character because I didn't do something. And I played it mostly on a Steam Deck because I was playing it a lot on a plane. On the way to and from.
Settle down, Brian. We know.
Yeah. Ironically, Brian, the big Steam Deck evangelist, like the biggest Steam Deck hater turned evangelist. But I think it's a really cool game. I think it has a really unique kind of combination of you know, like I said, Papers, Please, and I'm Not a Human. Although I think that's maybe unfair to what Static Dread is, because it is, you know, a lot of different things, right? But that's the easiest way to describe it. And if you like Eldritch Horror and you like kind of like PS1 style retro graphics with like character sprites that are basically the characters, I think it's really interesting, and it's really compelling. And sometimes you play a game for work and you're like, I have to play this game for work. With Static Dread, I was like, I'm having fun, right?
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend it if you vibe with horror, if you vibe with that kind of gameplay.
I also, as kind of a side comment, I kind of love the way that Dread is becoming like a go-to word for Lovecraftian Eldritch stuff. You know, like I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's like Dread has slowly become like, if the title has Dread in the name, it's probably Lovecraftian, which I like.
Or Metroid.
Or Metroid, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it absolutely is, right? And I think it's cool in the way that like, because you are so isolated as a character, you only have like fragments, right? Like, oh, I tuned to this radio station looking for the ship. And what's cool, the other thing that's really cool about it is because the Aurora is messing with the radios on the ships, you don't know where the ship is going to call you from. It could call you from any channel on the radio, and you kind of have to search through them to find it. And what that means is that you get these really cool moments of environmental storytelling where you're searching through the radio and you find a station, and it's not the ship that you're trying to find, but it's just people talking, and you get about, you know, what's going on outside of that. And I think, yeah, it's a really neat little game. And Brian, I think you would actually get quite a kick out of it, to be honest.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I was also looking at the other one that you mentioned earlier. No, I'm Not a Human. These both look really good, especially as somebody who just came off of beating Look Outside. Like I'm very like I'm ready for more, you know. Which is it's so interesting that there's so many different games. It bums me out that for so many of these Eldritch games, or like so many of my favorites that I would like to recommend to people, that it is not obvious that that's what it is, because the fact that it's that is the twist that I want to recommend to people, but I can't, because if I do, it spoils the twist.
Yeah.
But
I think
Play X, go in blind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think
but I'll have to like recommend those another time when it's not immediately attached to this.
Once you get them in, right? But I think this is one of those games where, again, I don't think it's really that scary. It's more of a creeping dread. It's kind of like a sense of unease that builds and builds and builds. But you do feel like you have a sense of control while also being like, man, how much control do I actually have?
Yeah.
You know, it's a weird, because, you know, it's Eldritch Horror, right? Like, you know, part of it is like, man, you know, people who are aficionados of the genre, like part of it is like maybe there's nothing I can do, right? Like maybe this thing is just going to happen regardless of, it's so big and so far beyond me that it's just going to happen regardless of what I do.
Yeah.
And I think it navigates that in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
Um,
The classic Lovecraftian thing of like, you can't stop this. The best you can do is just delay it a little while.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a really fine balancing act that it walks, because it becomes clear about how important the lighthouse is. And you're often tempted like, oh, just feed me like 3 ships during this storm and I will make the storm go away and you won't have to worry about it anymore. And you're like, I don't know.
I don't know about that one, chief.
Yeah, and it's really funny because sometimes it'll tempt you with like, feed me this character that's mean to you, and you're like, that one's tempting. That guy's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
But I think it does some really interesting things. And like I said,
do you have the opportunity to let those characters know? Like, can you be like, hey, just so you know, like, I could have offered you up to this eldritch god and I didn't. So like, maybe be nicer to me.
Because you can tell them like, hey, I think this is what's going on, and they're like, that sounds crazy, right? Like,
yeah,
they 100% don't believe you, and it's very cool. And then, but like again, your relationships change with the characters as that stuff happens. Like depending on how you treat them, right? They actually do like change and evolve, and I think they do it in a really interesting way where it's not like a meter or anything. It's just kind of like how you deal with it and how everyone's kind of working through this really tense moment in the world.
Nice.
Yeah, don't want to linger on it too long, but I do think it's quite good.
Do you know? Did you say? I don't recall you saying. Did you say how long it is, or do you know how long it is?
It depends on how much you do any given day, right? Because
Okay.
like there's things that you can do to extend the playtime.
Okay.
But I would say it's about maybe 12 hours or so.
Oh wow.
Ballpark.
Okay. Yeah. So it's on sale right now, and it's like $9.74 on Steam.
Yeah,
so like
it's quite good. I would definitely recommend to anybody who like kind of likes that stuff, and it's lower key, I think, in a way that makes it really accessible if you are not over the moon into eldritch horror or that kind of stuff. And I think it's gonna do some stuff for you, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, check it out. I'm gonna hand it over now to Lucas, because I know Lucas has also been playing some stuff. I don't think he's been playing any eldritch horror things though.
Game.
I'm giggling.
Well,
I googled the name of this game, and the first thing I saw was a thumbnail of like a VTuber playing it. So it's like spooky logo, and then like anime girl,
a cat girl.
And, like, yeah. But I don't think that's what that game is.
There are no cat girls as far as I remember.
You play a VTuber who's been put in charge of a lighthouse.
Oh gosh, worse things happen than eldritch horrors in there.
So Lighthouse overload.
I went to a digital preview on behalf of Skybox to play Towa and the Guardians. Hold on.
Of the Sacred Tree.
Of the Sacred Tree. Thank you. So that's it's a top-down action roguelike-y kind of deal from Bandai Namco. And I played it for about 4 hours. And for the most part, I believe I had a good time.
He believes he had a good time.
I was about to say, who else would know besides if not you?
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to phrase that. Do you think you were brainwashed?
No, it's just one of those things where it's like,
look at the swinging watch, Lucas.
I have more. I need more time with the game to fully, hash that out. Which is good because a demo for the public just came out. So I've been considering dipping back in just to kind of play with some things I missed. So the concept is basically you're this like god type character, and you basically have this group of like disciples. I'm not going to use exact lore because I could not recall any of it.
Flunkies. The term is
yeah.
flunkies.
I think based on the title that they're the guardians of the sacred tree. Just a thought.
Maybe, but you never know.
You
for
never
sure.
know.
There could be all kinds of weird proper noun nonsense happening. Anyway, so you have this crew of friends, and you're sort of stuck in this like not quite time loop, but it's like they're stuck, and you're sort of this god helping out with this village. All your friends are basically trapped, and your best bet to kind of deal with that is to kind of go to where they're stuck, and then kind of you go out in pairs to try and fix things with violence.
As one does.
Yeah. And gameplay wise, the conceit is you pick like a leader and then a backup, and your leader has a sword, and it's like the same sword, so like everyone kind of shares the weapon because it's got like magical properties or whatever. And they have a sword, and then the person who's like your backup has a staff, and so they support with like spells and stuff. And so each character has kind of their own default abilities, and while they share the weapon, they kind of have their own moveset. And then you can either kind of let the backup person do what they want. You can kind of give them like AI kind of orders, or you can manually control them in a weird way with the right stick. But the twist is that whoever you pick as your sidekick, if you finish the run, they are sacrificed to the we'll say greater good. So
the greater good.
The greater good.
So that you can't pick them anymore at that point.
So some
Wait,
Darkest
really?
Dungeon vibes.
Maybe. And you get this really cool cutscene, and they like they sacrifice themselves, and you get kind of like a last moment for them, and then they're just gone. And they're really banking on that being kind of impactful. It's very dramatic, and it's interesting because it's not like it's not like so heavy that it's like, okay, everyone you pick, no matter what, is going to go away, because it's the sidekick, right? So if you have a character you like, you can just keep picking that character as your main. So I haven't quite figured out like what kind of the long-term effect that kind of has on you as the person playing it, other than it being kind of shocking. But it's curious. It's an interesting kind of twist on self-sacrifice in a game where you'd think it would be more immediately impactful, but like I found myself being like, oh, I don't find this character as interesting as the others, so they're up first. But so you do that, and it's a fairly, I think what I kind of expected out of a game like this. You play like Hades, or you play the Ninja Turtles game that came out recently, Splintered Fate, where like you're in a room, the enemies spawn in, you kind of have to deal with them best you can, and then you get a reward and you move on to the next room. But the other twist is that your weapons have like temporary durability. So your primary sword has its own little basic combo kind of thing, depending on who you're playing as, and then the durability whittles down. When it goes to 0, your damage is really hampered, at which point you can do a move that's like an attack that also switches to your other sword, which changes what your primary attack is. And it can really change. So like I played as, I forget the character's name, I called him Musclefish the whole time I was in the Bondi Discord, because he is just a fish man who is just jacked to the nines. And I
look up the concept art for this character. It's really something.
He's very cool. I was actually disappointed.
What's his real name?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. He's Musclefish. It's just like, that's, I was actually disappointed he wasn't. Everyone has a sword because he looks like someone he'd be like the monk guy who's using his bare hands, but not the case. So he does flip around a lot, like you'd expect, like a.
You guys are gonna have to
Shaolin.
see. So I searched
But anyways,
on Google for musclefish, and you guys are gonna have to see what I see.
why would you do that? I'm not gonna look.
You better.
Just look outside. We swear.
Just look outside. I put it in the Beyond the Skybox channel.
Yeah, no, that's about what I expected. But,
Yeah.
So anyway, the secondary attack is like a huge difference from your primary one. So like in the tutorial, the character they make you use has like a standard, like it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4 hit combo or whatever. And then when you have to switch the other weapon, it's like a thing you have to charge up, and then it's like a spinning AoE around that person. So if you kind of play by the rules of these meters, you're kind of having to juggle between a thing that's like fairly intuitive and standard to this type of game to something that like is going to throw you off immediately. And you kind of have to figure out, okay, do I want to sit here and like commit to both of these equally, or do I want to try to like, technically you can like draw and then draw right back and get your durability back. But in the interest of kind of meeting the game at its face, I tried to stick it out. And then like the fish guys, his basic combo was hard to control because he's like flipping around and spinning and stuff, and he'll just go off in a direction. So you kind of have to put more effort into aiming with him. And then when you go to his secondary weapon, it's just this big flip. So it's like the ending attack of his combo, but it's a little stronger. But you still have to really be careful with throwing that around because man just doesn't look where he's going. And so it's like, it feels unintuitive, but it's also kind of like creative at the same time. So it's not just, oh, I'm just going to run in and I'm just going to mash the attack button. I have to like figure out what my buttons do, and then I have to adjust my game plan based on what my buttons do. And it felt like something that people are going to not be into at first until they're going to have to decide like, okay, I'm going to, meet this game where it's at and then figure it out from there. Mm-hmm. That being said, being a roguelike, it's got all these bonuses and stuff, and that's where like the build crafting and stuff comes in. And there was one I got where it was like, gosh, I forget exactly. It was either dealing damage or dodging would actually restore. It was dodging would restore durability of my weapon. So it would get to the point where I just didn't have to worry about it anymore because I'm dashing around. And I think I picked up an extra dash because that's kind of on a little bit of a cooldown. So it was just like, okay, I guess I just don't have to worry about this anymore. That's kind of cool. So it's a very, very modular kind of thing where there's a huge list of upgrades and changes that you can get that will totally change your approach to like the combat. So it's like it's slightly unconventional, which is cool compared to a lot of these games where they just kind of want you to mash the attack button and dodge out of the way. And then there's another element that really stood out where you go back to this hub, and I can't really talk about a lot of what's going on with the hub. But there's like just passive progression. It's like, okay, you earned your points, and now you can dump your points into having bigger numbers or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But there's another one where you forge your weapons. So you can reforge your sword and just have a pool of equipment to play with. But the forging itself is this really elaborate series of little mini games. And it's like, I don't know, it's like, the meter goes back and forth and you got to stop it on the hot zone or whatever. And it's a lot of stuff like that. Or you pull your control stick back and it builds and you have to let it go at the right time. And there's other silly things. And it's got this very kind of jovial tone to it. But there's parts that impact the stats of the weapon and there's parts that don't. And they're just for visual flair. And It's completely unhinged. You can bend the sword, and it's like the whole sword is like on this little graph, and you can just pick points to like hit at it and it'll bend it. And you can just do it until you're done. And so people were making these swords that would like curve over themselves, and they look like little like screws, or like the kind of like screws that are coilies, and it just like goes into something, and it just like these just absolutely absurd, degenerate looking not weapons. But the game was like, yeah, sure, you can do this. Why not?
Why
And then
not?
here's
Why
your
not?
normal scabbard that you can still put it into somehow. And just like people were sharing stuff in the Discord channel that was just absurd. It was like if the Street Fighter 6 character creator was like for making swords. kind
Yeah.
of thing. It was very silly.
I'm gonna make my sword hella fat.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, I wonder if you can just how many loops you can do. Yeah, so that was really interesting. It reminded me a little of that Mercury Steam game that came out about blacksmithing, but it was more fun to engage with. Because that game had forging and it was interesting, but it was very unintuitive and weird. And this was not. This was very simple, but it was silly, and I liked engaging with it a lot more.
Nice.
And I think that'll be really funny when people start, sharing their goofy looking weapons and stuff. Then one more thing to note: the soundtrack is composed by Hitoshi Sakimoto of Final Fantasy Tactics fame.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
Also, Bubble Ghost for the Game Boy. And it's
It
really
takes those
cool.
thoughts.
It does. The music is very reminiscent of like his style, as you'd expect to hear it from Final Fantasy Tactics, but then it'll like randomly go into like really intense like techno music and stuff like that. So it's cool to kind of hear that and be like, oh, this sounds like Final Fantasy Tactics, and then a boss battle starts, and it's like, oh, okay, this guy can do more than one thing. That's awesome. And yeah, I'm kind of all over the place, but this was just a preview that I kind of jumped into and just kind of had to like lock in on for 4 hours and then disappear forever. But yeah, it's really interesting. There's stuff about the story I can't get into at all that might have some meat to it. The character art is really cool because it's it looks like it's hand drawn art that's kind of scanned in. It's got like dialogue. It'll have the portrait there as a lot of Japanese games do their dialogue. But overall, I think when this game was announced, it was one of those ones where people were kind of like, oh, I don't know what to think of this. But everyone that was in there seemed to be really into it. I thought it was really interesting. I think it might struggle if it were to like come out around the same time Hades 2 goes 1.0 or something like that. But if that doesn't happen, I think it has enough behind it to grab attention. Especially like a lot of the people in there were like, content creators, influencers, whatever. And they seemed excited. Granted, with those people, sometimes it's hard to tell if they're being honest or not.
Legitimately excited or just putting it on, yeah.
Yeah. But the vibe seemed good. And
Nice.
I think, I love to see a company like a Bandai Namco or a Square Enix or whatever, like trying new ideas and introducing new IP.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I definitely want to come back to it for sure when I get a chance to.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. All right. Before I go into my game that I have this week that I was really hoping to beat before this episode, I am close to the end. I've not beaten it yet. But before we do that, let's talk about some Patreon questions. Baby. All right. So the illustrious Murph.
Shout outs to Murph.
Shout outs to Murph for coming up with great questions for the show. Murph asks, what is a 1-star sequence in an otherwise 5-star game? And what is a 5-star sequence in an otherwise 1-star game?
It's a good question.
Really
Good question. Also a very difficult question.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
A lot harder on one side than it is on the other, but we'll get into that.
Mhm.
Kris, we haven't heard from you, so why don't you lead us off if you've got your stuff?
Oh, I don't, unfortunately.
Excellent. Then you know what? Forget you. Will and I were talking along with Lucas before the show got started. Will, I know you've got some. Why don't you go into yours?
So I think a 1-star sequence in an otherwise 5-star game is there is this bit in Xenogears near the end on the second disc. And excuse me. Everybody knows that Xenogears is infamous for cut content, right? The whole second disc is trimmed down and but I find that actually most of it is okay. Like if you just kind of just go with it and roll with it and be like, all right, whatever, right? But there are a couple times when in the final dungeon, the game will kind of show you like, oh, and then this happened, and there was a big boss, and you didn't get to fight it. And you're like, that looks cool. Why didn't I get to do that? Or just like there's the entire sequences where it's literally just characters describing like, hey, this thing happened. And you're like, that sounds sick. I wish I'd gotten to play that. And I still think Xenogears is awesome and worth playing, even with the stuff that's not there. But I think those moments where it's like, hey, you don't get to do this thing, but it's important to the plot, so we're going to tell you about it, are pretty rough.
Yeah.
As far as a 1-star moment in a 5-star game, oh, that's hard. Or sorry, a 5-star moment in a 1-star game. I will say, this is hard. This is really hard.
This is way harder than the other one.
Yeah. So this is a really deep cut. There was a game called Enemy Front, which is this very, very. This was one of like the first games I think I reviewed way back. I gave this game a 2, so it is literally a 1-star game. And it is this military shooter. It's set in World War II. It's a mess. It really is a mess. The sniper rifle, the sniper rifle in that game feels amazing. When you pop somebody's head with a sniper rifle in that game, awesome. And it's Nazis, so it's one of those things where you can just feel great about it. Where it's like, oh man, this feels amazing, and I killed a Nazi, like actual legitimate World War II Nazi, right? Like there is no, some games ask you like, what is the moral framework in which you operate, gamer? And this one is like, nah, bro, we in France killing Nazis.
Yeah,
like,
buddy.
Yeah, boy. You know what I mean? And so you get to shoot them and have like this incredible, like, kind of like slow motion, like really great, like, it feels really good. And that sniper rifle probably kept me more invested in that game than I should have been. So those are my answers.
Okay. All right. I got a couple.
Play solves many ills, people.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
All right. So going off of the cut content thing, I'm going to make a lot of people mad. Or rather, I'm going to remind a lot of people about their anger. So my 1-star section of a 5-star game is the ending we did not get from Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Damn you, sir.
Because if you've looked into what the ending of Metal Gear Solid 5 was supposed to be, it is so sick. And we all deserved it, but we did not get it.
What's that Anthony Bourdain bit? Once you've seen the ending that you were supposed to get to Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, you'll never stop wanting to beat Konami to death with your bare hands.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Anthony Bourdain, stay spitting. Rest in peace, King. Yeah, so that's the one that really pisses me off. And then I've got a couple of honorable mentions. So these are tricky because
my man couldn't even just pick one and move on to the second part of the question.
I guess so. Well, I know I have the other one, but I wanted to mention the other ones because they're fun. But I tell you what, I'll wait until everybody else is gone because I don't want to steal anybody else's.
Let everybody else go.
Yeah. My other answer to the 5-star sequence in an otherwise 1-star game is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles, which is not a good game.
No.
He's right.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
But having not had that much experience with these sorts of things, beating the game with my friends and then going back to character select and seeing Darth Maul on there was pretty sick. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, not having that much experience with secret or unlockable characters, this was before Tony Hawk Pro Skater. This was before, like, all those other things. This was, I think, the first time where I was like, wait, you can do what? You could play as Darth Maul? That's sick. And this was back in the day when everybody was still enjoying Darth Maul,
I mean, that was a PS1 and Dreamcast game, right? That's an oldie.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's me. Lucas, what you got?
All right. I've got like a silly answer and the real answer for both. The silly ones are quick. 1-star moment, a 5-star game. I was joking earlier before the podcast, so I just want to say this out loud. But anytime NIS put out Disgaea Hour of Darkness without the Tsunami Bomb song is just a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
Man, that track ruled, and it was so cool to have it in the PS2 version when it first came out. And then
the DS, because the DS version, which was, I think, called like Afternoon of Darkness or Hour of I forget which, they did a weird naming convention. One in that. And it's just like, man.
Not in the
even
PS2
though it had
version.
The DS version had like characters from like sequel games, and they still didn't have that freaking song. It's like, bro, come on.
And like, shout outs to Tsunami Bomb, all the love in the world. They can't be that expensive. Especially when I got them in the first place for an Atlas strategy RPG on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And what, 2001 or something?
Man, he's gassing them up and they're catching strays at the same time. You hate to see it.
I love Tsunami Bomb. That song is awesome. The real answer is in Mega Man 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. There's a part where you have to use crash bombs to get through barriers. And there's no power-ups or anything to restore your meter at all. So if you blow up the wrong door, I think the margin error is only like 2, maybe 3. You just can't continue. You just have to die.
Yeah.
Because you're at a crash bomb juice, and you just can't. And it's just like, I hate it every time. It's so stressful. And it's not challenging otherwise. It's just you have to know the right things to blow up. Otherwise, it sucks.
It's a knowledge gate. Otherwise, fuck you, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. The rest of the game isn't really like that. It's just that one part.
Yeah.
And then for 5-star and a 1-star, the silly answer is the title screen from Pictionary on the NES.
I know what you're referencing.
If you know, you know.
Completely correct.
Tem
I think this
Fallen
came up
is
on the platforms at some point.
It probably did. Because I bring that up whenever there's an opportunity to. Tem Fallen is just an unhinged composer. And they hired him for Pictionary for some reason, and he was like, okay, I'm just gonna be me. And just shreds for, I don't know, 2 minutes, minute and a half, just for the title screen of Pictionary. It's absurd. So
Look it
I
up.
need
It's
you to
great.
send this to me once this episode's over. I
I
need to
will do
hear
that. I will do
this.
that. Oh man, if you haven't heard Pictionary NES, so my real answer is also music related, kind of. So this is about
3 music related things out of 4.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. But this one is more substantial. So this is about Beavis and Butthead for the Sega Genesis.
Jesus Christ.
Well, if something's going to be music adjacent, like
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
I
I'm
guess so.
sitting here like thinking about like the way things, and Lucas is out here like, let me tell you about Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Dog water video game, truly. It's like it's got, there's like some visual accuracy. The characters look right and everything. It's kind of silly in that way, but it's just like a crappy side-scrolling platformer where you have to like shoot things and avoid damage, trial and error. It's just like no sauce. But the premise of the game is that Beavis and Butthead get guar tickets, and the neighbor's dog eats the tickets and then like barfs them out in pieces. And so you're going through the whole game retrieving your guar tickets to put them back together. And if you actually have the patience to play through this whole video game, the last level is actually you get to go to the guar show. And as a Virginian, I love guar a lot. They're a local band. A lot of history in Richmond especially, but guar is very special to me, and it was very cool seeing just massive, for a Sega Genesis, sprites of like all the guar members, and Beavis and Butthead are dressed up as guar slaves, and you can kind of go on the stage and walk around, and if you run into the band members, they slap you because you're guar slaves, and that's what happens to guar slaves. And there's also like a really kind of pretty well done Genesis rendition of Jack the World, and that's kind of playing, and it's just really cool. It's like a really really well executed payoff for a very stupid premise, but it's also very like that was Beavis and Butthead, right? As they had like a music video every episode at the end. So like in terms of like adapting the thing on your crappy licensed platformer that probably took you, it's unfair to say that you probably only had 6 months to make it out the door. They nailed that part. Shout outs to the Gore concert on the Sega Genesis. Beavis and Butthead.
Such these are
this is a deep cut, and I love it.
This is a really deep cut. I would hope that nobody could predict Enemy Front, but nobody could have predicted Beavis and Butthead.
No, never in 1,000 years. And then that reminds me of a 5-star moment in a 5-star game, which is beating the like full like canon ending of Warrior Within, and then cuts to black, and then Godsmack comes in with I Stand Alone.
Jesus Christ.
It's just like, yes.
Chris, take this away from him. Take this away from him.
Anyways,
Lucas
all right.
Right. So let me give my.
Yeah, you give yours. You give yours.
All right. So I kind of have to cop out a little bit with the 5-star sequence and 1-star, because I just can't think of many, because usually if a scene is that good or that impactful, it's going to elevate the game to some point in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately,
and like, how long are you going to spend playing a 1-star game to even get to a 5-star part? Unless it like the opening is great and then the rest of the game sucks. Which
there's a reason Enemy Front was a work game. Okay,
fair. So what I will say then is that Star Wars Outlaws is kind of that. It's not 1-star, but it's not all that good when it's disjointed. When you're going around to different planets, getting your characters, getting your team together for this heist, everything's very disjointed, not really connected, because it can't tell. Excuse me. Sorry, it can't really tell who you have access to at any given point. So it's like the characters don't really interact. They're just kind of static figures on your ship occasionally. But then once everything is done and you get to the end sequence where it's like, okay, we know you have everything. Here is a scripted sequence with everyone involved, big long heist and chain of events and betrayals or whatever that live up to the game's premise, and it rules. It's great. If the whole game was like that, I would love it. But up to that point, it's like it's mid Ubisoft open world all game slop.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's a shame.
So that's that.
All game mentioned. We're changing the discourse.
Yeah, shout outs to the Discord. But as for the 1-star sequence in 5-star games, plenty of those. The one that I was reminded by Will mentioning Xenogears is in fact Xenoblade 3, which I am on record as saying.
I knew Kris was a man of culture.
Yeah. Xenogears is good, but and so is Xenoblade for the most part. But Xenoblade 3 is really fucking good up until it isn't. At which point, then it becomes a 1-star game to me. And some people are fine with it. Some people go, yeah, this is fine or whatever. But that game just gets better and better and better and better, and then peaks at this really fucking high point where that scene, like there is a scene which involves a prison. If you know, you know. And that
Lucas,
scene was
you
good
know?
enough.
Hmm?
Do you know, Lucas?
The only person I think would know would be Lucas on this podcast. Lucas, do you know?
I have not played these games.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we're just gonna
But-
treat Chris's word as gospel.
I'll put it this way: when I was playing that, I was playing this in the year Elden Ring came out, I was like, "This might be game of the year for me."
Ooh.
And and then it wasn't, because everything after that point, it's like middling, and then the ending just completely drops the ball and sucks. I hate it.
Mhm.
And the DLC did not help matters. It was, ugh. I went from adoring that game to despising it, and so for that, it has to be my pick. Right?
Goodness gracious,
Oh,
yeah, that's-
man.
I'm pouring this one out for Kris.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow, that reminds me of an even better version
Oh,
of
boy.
of that thing. The ending of Kingdom Hearts 3.
No,
Kingdom Hearts 3?
Brian, you've had your turn.
I know. Honorable mentions though.
But that is
The
but
ending
that
of-
is a
No,
good
no, we are on a
5-star
timer,
line.
sir.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 sucks. The last like 5 hours are awesome.
Yes, that's a 5-star and a 1-star game. There you go. Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
3.
Also,
You can
this
have that one
this
for free.
yeah, this one is for Will. The Xbox 360 version of Blighttown and the original Dark Souls.
Yo, that's facts.
Terrible.
Oh,
I
goodness.
am one of the biggest FromSoft like guys you'll ever meet in your life, but I could not play through Dark Souls 1.
Terrible.
Even on PC, honestly, it was still bad. Like
The if you play Dark Souls remastered, like it's fine, but yeah, unless you it's rough.
No,
It is
I had the
rough.
Prepare to Die edition, brother. That was not good.
But Prepare to Die is different. The Dark Souls remastered version is better.
I believe you. I'm just telling you what
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
not a
Prepare to
good
Die was
experience.
not. No.
Frame rate, Prepare to Die edition.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Should've
it was
listened to the
not great.
subtitle.
It's rough.
I told you.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Chris,
That's
you
everybody.
doing your
everybody.
second
Yeah,
one?
that's all of us.
Okay, all right.
We'll
We
do
still
the
have
second
some
one, or
games
move
to get
to-
to.
Yeah, we'll
so,
go through the game.
We do. We've been here for a
Uh,
while, so we can decide if we want to trim stuff down for next week so that we can do our other thing that we need to do.
who hasn't gone? Because I know Lucas might have gone.
I have not gone. Maybe we cut
Chris
your
has not
guys'
gone.
other ones.
Yeah, I was thinking that you and if you want to go and then Kris can go and then we'll save the stuff for next.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
works.
That works. Okay, so the thing that I have been playing that I've really been loving is called Is This Seat Taken? So I talked about this a while back when I played the demo, but I now have the full version of the game. Let me tell you guys, this game rips. It's beautiful. It's adorable. It's super cute. It's a puzzle game where you basically are like, so imagine you're like a wedding planner doing the seat assignments at the the dinner after the ceremony, right?
I don't have to imagine because I've literally done this.
You've literally done that. You got people who don't like each other. You got people who, somebody wants fish, somebody eats really loud, another person cannot stand mouth sounds. Like, so they got misophonia. You got to put those.
Not an ASMR fan.
You gotta put that person on the side. You know, you got certain families who don't get along. You got people who are best friends, but they're gonna talk and they're gonna get really loud. So maybe you keep them separated. Is the Seat Taken is a game all about like that thought experiment where you've got like the coyote and the chicken and the corn and a canoe, and you got to get all three of them to the other side of the river, but you can't have the ones that will eat each other in the thing at the same time. It's like that puzzle, but a whole game of it. And it's got these little adorable shapes, like the little children are like tiny little triangles with pink cheeks. And, you know, so some people are on trains or planes and they don't want to have a kid near them, which honestly, relatable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and woven throughout this whole game is this really charming story of someone who has a dream that they're trying to fulfill. And so there are tiny little snippets of dialogue as this person kind of like travels around the world trying to find their place in it and things. Meeting their heroes, having that go, you know, a little squiffy, as they say. And it's just very charming and fun. And I love it. I love cozy games like this. The music and the sound effects are really great. There's nothing to dislike about it. And I think it's on sale for less than $10 on Steam right now.
It's very cheap, yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked it up while you were talking, and yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Looks kind of like Snipper Clips.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, top-down snipper clips where you, you know, make sure that people can eat the pie that they want and not fries. You know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is this seat taken?
Meanwhile, Will has found the Pictionary theme.
Yo, this goes so hard.
Doesn't it? Isn't it great?
This is the pause music from GoldenEye meme. Like, what is happening?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait,
absolutely.
we just need the.
What do you think of this? Like,
Yeah. Oh my God! What the fuck?
yo,
What
this
if?
goes
Hey,
hard.
what if the 007 like just like menu screen music, but it fucked. But it absolutely had sex with your mom. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So listen, Brian's a bad person, but if you have not heard the Pictionary title screen soundtrack from the NES, you need to listen to this right now.
Well, hold on. So I will hold on. I'm gonna play this then. Because I can do this because I'm capturing this, so I'll play this for a little bit.
Oh, hell yeah.
This goes outrageously hard.
It's insane.
It's Pictionary, bro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know you mentioned this either in Discord or on the platforms or something at some point, and I've heard this story. So the moment you mention it again, I'm like, oh fuck, I know exactly where this is. And it goes so hard. It's great.
Oh my God, this becomes like digital dream theater or something.
What is happening?
It's my favorite thing to bring up to
Lucas
people.
wins.
Yeah,
That's it.
that is the 5-star and a 1-star. That is
Good
the
God
definitive.
have mercy.
That's amazing. The first comment on this YouTube video that you linked is: imagine going to your friend's house and hearing this as you walk in. You think you're about to play the best game ever, but it's fucking Pictionary.
Jesus, what?
Other
Second,
comments. It's just Tim. It was just
yes,
Pictionary.
that's such a great one. Are you ready for some fucking Pictionary? When you're overqualified for the job. It's like that YouTube video of the guy who's like playing the drums in that giant like cat donut costume.
Yeah.
And he just goes absolutely ape shit on the solo.
You want to learn how to do a fucking infinite? Like, that is the soundtrack.
Yeah, basically. That's pretty sick.
It's so good.
That is crazy.
That goes so hard. So good. All right.
Where were we?
We are going to Kris. Kris, what do you have to talk about this week?
Well, speaking of shocks to the system,
Oh,
That was good.
Very good.
That was nice.
So, a recent thought experiment or whatever in the Discord had me going through and deciding I need to just nail down like a top like 25, 50, 100 or whatever my favorite games. I was doing that.
Hold up, Chris. I need to plug something right
a top 25, 50,
Right.
100.
For $5, you get access to the Skybox Critics Discord, and you can join us for incredible things like Somak, and also the top 25 video games for everybody here. We just had a day where everybody was making a top 25, and it inspired a lot of really great discussion. So $5, support some great writing and some great podcasts, and talk about your top 25 with us.
It's a really fantastic community with a couple of really bad eggs. Sarcastic.
We love everybody in the Skybox.
Yes, everybody is there, but we also do love to take the piss. It is very fun. We have so much fun there. You really should join us.
You really should join us.
Great.
And I think one of the cool things that we do is we talk about games the way that like normal people talk about games,
Mhm.
which is fun because these are games ultimately, and sometimes people get maybe a little bit too precious with how they're willing to talk about them. And I think that if you have a more honest discussion about it, you're gonna find more stuff that really speaks to you, and B, you're gonna find more people that you want to talk about games with. So
yeah,
spend $5. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. We are willing to talk about the 1-star moments in the 5-star game.
We are absolutely. Thank you, Murph. Shout outs to the great one.
Yeah. And the way that Murph got us to answer his question is he's in the Discord.
Yeah, if you would like to, give us nonsense questions to answer, please. Not saying that Murph's question was nonsense, but like.
But we've also
how
answered
else
nonsense
would you have gotten
questions. Yeah.
How else would you have gotten to Pictionary?
How
For
else
sure.
would you have gotten us to talk about length versus girth? Like, come on.
It's true. It's true.
We are now officially a not safe for work podcast. Anyway, Chris, you were talking about shocks to the system.
Yes.
I was. So in the process of trying to finalize my list, I went through and there were a number of games which I'm just like, I would like to include these, but I've never finished them. I haven't played them enough. Their legacy is strong. I've dabbled in them, but I want to actually just sit down and knock a few of them out. And a couple of these were the System Shock games, because I love them. They're great, what I've played of them, but I never really finished them. And so in order to go to System Shock 2, which is my main target, I figured I bought the System Shock remake from Night Dive that came out a couple of years back. I will go and play that and knock that out of the park before I go back and tackle System Shock 2, which just got a remaster. So I did that. I rebooted System Shock Remake.
Oh, as a kid.
And there's a kitty.
It's Diet Jake.
It kind of does look like Jake.
Anyway, so yeah, I've been playing the System Shock remake, and it's a really fucking good game. The original was also really fucking good, and I respect how much of the original is still in there. Like, it is a faithful remake to the point of almost frustration and irritation. And
Yep.
many comments are just like, couldn't they have tweaked a little bit of this? It's like, no, they kept that shit in.
Couldn't they make
They
this
kept
like
that
just a
shit
little bit
legit.
friendlier to the player? Nope.
No. Much like the legendary antagonists of the game, this game is completely willing to fuck you over and hate you.
Yeah.
It's great.
But I do think that
I
it's
kind of respect it.
yeah, I do think that it's good for gamers in the modern era to have an entryway to experiencing how bullshit stuff used to be. Like, before a lot of these like edges got sanded off with like modern game design and approaches to things. Like, there were so many of these games that we were talking about, whether it be Pictionary or Beavis and Butthead, like, had shit in them where it's just like, I got no fucking clue, dude. I got no clue what to do. Like, you just got to figure that shit out. And System Shock has that in there still.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be in certain ways. Certain plot critical items are a lot more clear, at least. Like, you can tell when this one head that you need for a retinal scanner is different from all the other 7 heads you could find. So you won't lose that. This one is a quest item. This one is, you can. it's at least a little more clear in that, but you still have to lug that shit around in your inventory, which is always limited, and resources are scarce. And you are scavenging, and enemies can respawn and will do so. And if you die, then more enemies will respawn. So good luck. Don't die. You have there is an in-game method of recovery. You will respawn at a medical bay if you die, assuming you turned off the cyborg process. Because if you don't, then you become a horrible cyborg and die, and game over. But you have that safety net, but you still want to avoid it because then enemies respawn, and it's like, well, I hope you didn't spend all those resources to get through there because they ain't going to do it again. And yeah, so constantly scrounging for ammo and finding my way through horrible maze-like design. Good horrible, because the station is laid out like every level of the Citadel station that you're in has a purpose. It is the maintenance level, the security level, the executive level, and it all reflects that. And the remake has kept pretty much the whole game design perfectly intact. It just changes up the presentation makes it a little more approachable in certain ways, but the spirit of the game is well and truly intact. They did the research, they did the work. It's an excellent remake. It's one I can absolutely recommend if you feel like the the 95, 96 original version of System Shock is just a little too esoteric, I guess.
That's exactly the word I was going to use.
Good word use. I was thinking you were going to say obtuse, but esoteric is good.
Because the original still makes sense. It's just a lot of screen real estate is taken up by various things, and it's not always clear, and just, yeah. But the game is great. You can go and play that original, and yeah, it's old, it's clunky, but you can see what's there.
And I think it's still available on Steam and GOG, some various places.
I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I'm going to check on that while you're talking.
But yeah, and then the remake just goes, we did all that. We polished off little bits and pieces so you can just get into the game, and then we changed the visual style a bit, but we kept, again, so much of it is intact. The level layout is the same. The style, it really does just look like they've taken this thing and then uplifted it by 25 years of visual tech, but it still has really low resolution textures. It still has that kind of chunky pixelated look. It still looks like the weird Citadel station, just with cool lighting now. And it's awesome. And then, yeah, you get to hear the antagonist showdown is absolutely legendary. And my God, you just don't realize it until you go through and you listen to the horribly fucked up, distorted, overlaid voice logs that she leaves, calling you an insect and talking about how godlike she is. It's just so cool. Absolutely fucking cool. So I've been playing that, and I'm near the end of it. I'm currently just blew up the antennas on the, not the maintenance level, the engineering level. So I think I got 1 or 2 areas left. Almost there. But it's a great game, and it's a great remake, and shout out to Night Dive for that one.
Yeah, and Night Dive's remaster is also, the enhanced edition is on Steam. So you can play that version, which still has some stuff in it.
I think the controls handle a little more modern because,
yeah, you've got mouse look and stuff. Yeah.
That's the thing. Mouse look wasn't always a thing, guys, for first-person games.
Yep.
We played Doom with a keyboard, and we liked it.
And you could do really crazy things with Doom with a keyboard, but I want to talk about Night Dive briefly. I don't want to change the subject, but
that's fine. I'm done. Go for it.
God bless them for remastering games that otherwise wouldn't get it. One of the things that that is really stoked my interest recently is they just remastered The Thing, or they're about to. I don't remember if the remasters come out yet.
I don't know if it's out.
Remaster of it, yes.
I think it is either happening or it has happened.
It has happened, yes.
It has happened?
Mm-hmm.
That game is awesome. It is the actual honest-to-God sequel to the original Carpenter film, canonically.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It is so interesting and so unique. And, preservation is obviously a big thing that we've talked about on both the platformers, which was kind of the prequel to this show and this show itself. But I think it's amazing that people can play these old games, and that, obviously, Kris, that, it seems like System Shock still hit for you, and I haven't played System Shock yet at all, and it's something I want to get to. And
I love it. It's great.
Maybe a deep dive. But
Maybe.
I think I
Could
think
be.
it's awesome.
I haven't finished it, but I've played like I think 75% of it, 50% of it, something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you appreciate like these really subtle storytelling moments. Like I was thinking about Marathon while you were talking, because that's my kind of point of reference.
It's kind of similar. Like, yeah, there's a lot of similarities between early Marathon games and System Shock.
That like first message you get. People talk about like writing in games has gotten so much better, but writing in games has actually been really good for a really long time. If people just go and dig, it's just been text, right? It hasn't been people talking.
The good writing that's in games was restricted to like a few genres.
Yeah, and I remember the writing in Marathon, specifically there's this one really interesting part in Durandal, which is Marathon 2. And one of the first things you get from Durandal while you're talking to the computer that the AI is communicating with you through is I think the exact line is, I've introduced them to the magic of orbital bombardment. And
Yikes.
it's such a great play on words,
Yeah.
right? And like you're not supposed to think like that's cool, but it's like it's such a, like you get so much about that character from that little interaction, right? Like the writing has always been there, and I think System Shock is one of those things that is so monumentally influential in ways that it's like Berserk, right? Like where people don't even realize they've been influenced by it anymore, because it's influenced so many things that have influenced other things.
Yeah, everybody talks about the antagonist for Portal, and it's like Portal's antagonist would not exist without Shodan.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It's one of those things.
100%.
I think this is making me want to play System Shock, so thank you, Kris. But I do think we talked about this before you jumped into it, but the idea of like revisiting games that you'd heard about, or when you're making a list and you're like, man, I never played that one. I think it's so important as like people who work in the space and are just enthusiastic about it to constantly challenge like what your lived experience is in a game or film or literature or anything, and really reevaluate it. And anyway, I won't. That seems like a topic for another podcast, but I appreciated that, is what I wanted to say. So thank you, Kris.
Yeah,
you're welcome. I'm having a ton of fun doing so there's really no reason not to.
Yeah, and to give Will his flowers, and to kind of piggyback on what he was saying. Yeah, being able to go back and taking the initiative to go back and reevaluate stances that you've had is the reason why I'm now a Doom Eternal enjoyer. Like, and that is...
Or a Steam Deck evangelist.
Or a Steam Deck evangelist. Exactly. So like, yeah, constantly challenging yourself, not just other people, but challenging yourself, interrogating why you feel the way that you do, and embracing the fact that like human taste changes over time. And like maybe something that you loved when you were a kid, you can't stand anymore. And maybe something that you bounced off of, maybe it'll speak to you now. And being like open to like kind of that fluidity of the human experience, I think is really beautiful. So thanks for that. All right, everybody.
For giving Doom Eternal another chance. We appreciate it.
I'm happy to be part of the team now.
I will never admit to this in the Discord. You're going to get roasted for 5 more years.
Yes.
Here we can say the truth.
Yeah.
So Brian, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just, please go on.
I think we're full circle, honestly. We've got another show. We've got a topic that we want to talk about, and this seems like a great place to call it.
It is. Yeah. It is. All right. Oh, man. This has been, I guess the names are going to be fluid. Just like the human experience. We're just gonna ebb and flow, and we're gonna just see what happens. But
the Skybox Smorgasbord has been brought to you by.
It's exactly. But I think we can loosely call this like pending a full decision when I'm not insanely sleep deprived. We may be calling this Beyond the Skybox After Hours Episode 1. This might just be what the old feed morphs into, because that makes the most sense to me. And then stay tuned for what's to come, because we've got some stuff that we're about to record that you'll hear later that's going to be a lot of fun. So until then, hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/skyboxcritics. Patronize us there at the $5 level to join our Discord community, which is awesome. And you'll get a lot of very weird inside jokes thrown your way. Somach, yeah.
2 stones, 1 bird.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff. So if you can back us, you can help become a part of what we're doing, trying to make the games criticism and just general criticism better. So please join us there. Without your support, we can't do all of the insane stuff that we're doing. So please join us. If you want to see what we're individually doing, then you can check us out on social media. You can find me on Blue Sky and Backlogged at Brian Barnett, BrianBarnett. You can find all of this on Twitch, YouTube, and all that. Also at Skybox Critics. And if you want to see what I've done lately, I think the most recent thing that I have done is we published my Marvel Rivals seasons 1 through 3 review on Skybox. We're going to have an Into the Skybox going up soon about that, and about like having a larger discussion about hero shooters, the way that the meta has evolved, and the way that NetEase has been handling the big responsibility of doing a hero shooter with a massive IP like Marvel. So stay tuned for that. Me. Yeah, guest starring Kris and maybe another guest host. We will see. I'm still waiting to hear back. But yeah, that's where you can find me and the stuff that I'm doing. Lucas, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Hokuto Lucas. You can find my writing on skyboxcritics.com. The most recent thing I wrote was probably still my AI piece, unless Ninja Gaiden came out after that.
Hey, that piece made Critical Distance's roundup. So please go read Lucas's piece on Mary Skelter. We're very proud of that one.
Yeah,
it's good. You got me to go play the game.
Yeah.
Hell of a game.
Hell of a game.
Yeah. Up next, probably another column about dungeon RPG, and then whatever else I decide to review next after Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah,
TBD.
I gotta, because I know there's a couple of things. I know a couple of things that you've been working on that I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna do something with that. But we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will, what do you got going on? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Edgar Allan Bro. I recently reviewed Madden for IGN, and I really like this year's version of it.
26.
Yeah, it's the best Madden has been in probably 8 or 9 years. And I think that EA is really listening to player feedback and critical feedback, and you can see it when you play the game. I've also got a preview coming up on IGN fairly soon for something I can't talk about yet, but you'll get it sometime this week. Also reviewed Static Dread over at Shack News, and I have been. I'd really like it if people could check out our AI Could Never series that I've edited most of the pieces for. I'm really proud of the work that we've done there. We've got a couple more coming as bonus episodes that didn't make the initial week. And for Skybox, I'm saying this so I will actually finish it. I'm working on a piece about the way we talk about RPGs.
Nice.
And why that is simultaneously both interesting and I think harmful to the genre as a whole. Obviously with feedback from Brian and Lucas and Kris and several other people. So please check that out. But if I could say anything, I would say that please, don't patronize me. Please patronize Skybox Critics. What we do is we're trying to pay people fairly for really good work, and that means that it costs. And
yep.
Your $5 a month thing actually really does help us. That's if you find a piece that you really like, you can say, hey, I helped pay for that. If you find a podcast you really like that we did, you helped pay for that. And
yep.
We want to make the industry better for people who are doing really interesting writing that wouldn't have a home otherwise. So if you've liked anything that we've done, pop into our Discord, pay that $5, help us keep doing it. And I think you'll find it really, really friendly and welcoming and willing to to lovingly roast you community that that wants you to be there. And
Yeah.
I think we're building something really special. So check that out, please.
A diverse coalition of writers and enjoyers of media. It's really fun. It's really good.
I'm really proud of the group that we've collected. I think we have really incredible people from all walks of life, from all over the world. You know, every kind of person you could imagine is on Skybox, and I'm so proud of the work that they've done. Kris, where can everybody find you?
Well, to parrot all of that, you said most of it, but I am also obviously writing for Skybox. The most recent thing that went up of mine was my AI piece about a tiny little game which you can find on itch and soon to be Steam called The Dark Queen of Mortholm. Very cool. You can also find me on Blue Sky at Kris Cornelise. It is a very difficult name to spell. Good luck. My personal website, which doesn't get updated too much at the moment, but hopefully has some stuff coming up, is versusthebacklog.com. That's vsthebacklog.com, one word. And a lot of my effort going forward will be going into the Skydive podcasts and the research thereof. So stay tuned for that. The next one should be coming up soon enough.
Yep. It's awesome. I'm excited.
Before we sign off, I would like to say a big thank you to everybody who does support the site currently. This doesn't happen without you.
Yep.
You know, we are
100%.
100% indebted to you. We're very grateful to your support. We hope you like hanging out in the Discord. We hope you like the work that we've done, and know that your support means the world to us and allows us to keep doing this. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's jumped on board and everybody who's made that Discord lively and fun and suggested questions for the podcast and everything else. You guys make this possible. And I know that can feel hollow at times, but it really would not happen without any of the people who have been so kind and so generous with their time and their money.
Yep.
So thank you.
And I will say, as somebody who ran a podcast for, God, I think 8 years before this, where like we had not built this sort of a community, it makes it, not only does it make it possible, it makes it so much more fun to do this. Like it can, creating something and putting it out into the world can feel thankless and hollow outside of like the appreciation that you have just doing the thing and the enjoyment you get from engaging in the craft. But having this cool community of really fun, interesting people to talk about these things with and to get ideas from and bounce things off of is like the difference between the sites that fail or don't have an identity and the sites that means something to people. And I really, echo everything that Will said about that. I really appreciate all of you. I love you all.
Hear, hear.
So with that, we hope you have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there. Because until next time, we are out.
Peace.
Peace.
Goodbye.